Hey everyone, in this first part of a multi-part tutorial series about VoxelVision, we are gonna explore how you can set up and install VoxelVision on your machine yourself. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So we are here in Blender 5.0, and to install the add-on, we are going to click on Edit on the top left corner, and then we go to Preferences. Inside the Preferences, we are going to navigate to Get Extensions. And inside here, you should see all your previous installed extensions, and you can go to this little drop-down menu on the top right, which says Extension Settings. If you extend it, you can see Install from Disk, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So click this button, then you can navigate your add-on file, basically, that you just downloaded. In this case, VoxelVision 4.0, and then you just click Install from Disk. It will take a while, and then it says Install VoxelVision. And you can see the new VoxelVision tab. Yes, it has this little warning sign, but don't worry, this is basically just because of the dependencies that are packed within the add-on, so you should be good. Then you can go to Add-ons, navigate to VoxelVision again, and then you should see all the settings that VoxelVision offers. So let's close this for now, and we'll probably just visit it in a second. So once you have VoxelVision installed, you should see the VoxelVision tab appearing in the N panel. So this is the N panel. And you can see all the navigation or the hotkeys that I'm pressing in the bottom left corner. As you can see, this should help you in case you miss any hotkeys or shortcuts that I'm pressing. So this is the N panel. You can see you can hide it and show it by pressing N on your keyboard. And you basically now see Setup Database. So this is what we need to do at the first step, basically. Setup Database is creating your texture set, because VoxelVision does not ship any Minecraft textures. So you actually need to own a Minecraft copy that you legally purchased. And to do that, we are going to go to Setup Database. It will directly navigate you to the add-on settings. And you can see we have this database tab on this menu strip. For now, don't worry about the asset library link. And we're just focusing on the database. By clicking on the plus icon here, you can actually add any jar file of any Minecraft or mod version that you like. So you can install your favorite mods, building mods. You can install any Minecraft version that you want. And to do that, you can actually go to the Minecraft version folder. It's usually under app data roaming.minecraft/versions. And then you have like all the versions that you have previously installed on your PC. So in case you don't see any of it, you should probably install Minecraft first and launch a couple of versions and play it. So it can basically download all the assets for you. In this example, we are going to use the version 1.21.5, which is right about here. And if you go in there, you can see there's a jar file. And this jar file is everything you need to install, basically. In case you don't see a jar file here and just any other file, you need to run and launch the game first with this version, so it downloads the jar officially, by the default Minecraft launcher, of course. So add version, now the version is installed. The next thing that we're gonna do is to generate the blocks. And this can take a couple of minutes or seconds, depending on your machine. So I would actually recommend to turning on the system console, so you can actually track, is this working, is it not working? You have this selected, you can toggle it on and off, and then you can generate the blocks. So it will create this little pop-up, and then you can continue and it will do its thing. So it will freeze, but if we go into the console, which is right about here, you can see it will soon enough start the process. Different blocks in the game. It should be done very quick. And once it's done, we'll see each other again. And all right, it was already finished. And that's basically everything you need to know. So we can go back and you can actually turn every object into blocks and other cool stuff with VoxelVision. You can actually work with it now because the button is now here. So in case you want to try it out, you can delete this and add, for example, a monkey. Let's make it a bit bigger. If you want to see the size of this cube or of this mesh, you can see it in here. So let's do 30 blocks, and then you need to apply all transforms to make it this proper size. Let's see if it worked. So we click on this, we go into material view, and you can see, we already see black concrete powder and netherite brick stairs, I think. Yeah, and if you add like, for example, custom palette, you can see now we have prismarine and so on and so on. This is stuff for the next tutorial. So I'm going to remove this, and we are now concentrating on setting up the asset library. So this is what this button actually does. It is red, you should click it, and you can actually go into the asset browser and click on this little drop down, and you should see that there's no VoxelVision library. And once I click on setup asset data or asset library link, you can see it sets up all those assets, and you should see the VoxelVision asset library appearing in here. If you select this, you can see all the different assets of VoxelVision. And just to demonstrate that it actually works, you can, for example, drag and drop a rock in here, and it should already have all the textures because we created it. If you would have like imported a mod, for example, white tones or some more blocks, it would also use those modded blocks in this scenario now, right now. In case you want to have like special default paths, for example, if you want to export this as a schematic, as a blueprint, you can specify default path. The Axiom modification has a default path for blueprints. So that would be handy to set this default path. So it already exports into the blueprint folder of Axiom. So you just need to switch tab and it's already there. So this is how you can do it. You can go into Edit Preferences again. Under Add-ons, go to Default File Paths, and you should see Block Palette Presets. So presets, you can set up a new folder, for example, for yourself. And maybe you want to have block palettes that you want to use over and over again. So you can save them for later, and this is where they should go if you want to have such a folder. The same for masking. And then you have different file paths and settings for schematic, blueprints, and Bedrock Edition, so empty structured files. You can set up the default export path, and you can set up the default blueprint author and the default blueprint tags. Make sure you space them with a semicolon or a comma. Another thing that you can find in preferences is the cache. So at the moment it's 0 bytes, but in case you have like a lot of masks and palettes, it will go up and you can just clear it, but it's like megabytes. So maybe 1 to 10 megabytes if you use it regularly. So not a lot of data, but in case you want to clear it, you can do it in here. And then you have the help section, which is actually quite handy. You have the FAQ, you have the Discord link, the official one, and you have the Bake Lab add-on, which is an add-on to bake your textures in case you don't have any texture set and just procedural textures inside of Blender. It is free and it's awesome. So I just link it here so you can see it yourself, and I can give some credit towards this owner because he did a good job. So we can close this window once more, and we should see that we are now here. If you look at the scene, I would recommend you set it up as the following. If you want to work with VoxelVision regularly, I would set up the asset library inside of this little window. I would create this N panel setup that it's a bit bigger, that you can actually see all those settings. And then I would create this little panel. I would probably make it maybe a third. And then I would go to modifiers, because with VoxelVision 4.0, it is modifier based. So it depends heavily how you stack different modifiers. So if I switch this order around, you can see that it takes a while because it now completely recalculates everything. And it wasn't supposed to be recalculated in this manner, basically. So now it's actually quite broken. As you can see, we have some sort of interesting stairs and block patterns here. It's now round because that's what those modifiers do. But for other setups, this is very handful. For example, if you have multiple gradients that you can already spot in here, and which I want to talk about way more in depth in the second part, for example. Therefore, it is now located in here, and you should definitely keep an eye on the modifier tab to work with VoxelVision in the most performant and efficient way. And this is pretty much what it takes to set up VoxelVision. If you want to save this as a preset, you can make it actually a startup scene. So you can go to defaults and save it as a startup file. So it will always look UI-wise, obviously, like this, and you don't have to set it up all the time manually. Could be nice, but if you use Blender for a lot of other things as well, you probably wouldn't do that. But then you also know how to navigate pretty efficiently. So in case you're a beginner and you want to make sure it always sets this up in the way you have it at that moment, I would recommend saving it as a startup file. There you have it. That is everything that I wanted to share about the installation process of VoxelVision. It's pretty straightforward nowadays. If you have any suggestions or critics or feedback, please put them in our official Discord. You can find it in the link below, and see you in the second part.